Hello, 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 life learners. This is Alexis Nelson, and I am your coach. And thank you for joining me today on Evolve and Thrive Life Coaching Insights. If you are new to Evolve and Thrive, make sure you like and share. And if you want to learn more about what I do, you can visit me at alexisnelson.us. I have all different type of packages. If you want some individual attention, I'm waiting for you, life learner, and I'm excited to get to growing. I like to have my life learners growth up because we live life on purpose. Why? Because you're worth it. Again, thank you for joining me today on Evolve and Thrive Life Coaching Insights. We have been talking about relationships. And oh, have we had some conversations? We had some really good conversations. And so we're going to dive into it today. And I always like to put these tips on the screen so you can read along with me because it really helps you get into it, right? So, again, today we are talking about relationships. We really want to focus on healthy relationships because that's a necessity. I always say relationships is a currency. And yes, it takes work, it takes practice. Sometimes people are not aware of how to communicate or how to interact with others. And so we want to make sure that we go through these steps so we can enhance our relationships. So when we're on our jobs, when we're in our families, when we're with our loved ones, or it could just be any facet that we are in, that it can enhance how we communicate with one another. Because we have to take time to be intentional about improving our relationships because we need one another. No matter what it is, no matter what we're trying to do, we need one another. So, we're going to start off with today's topic, which is be specific and clear. Clearly articulate the emotions you are experiencing. To clearly articulate the emotions you are experiencing, I want you to follow a few steps. So, our first step, we have to identify the emotion. We take a moment to recognize and label the specific emotion that you are feeling. So, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Are you anxious? Or is it something entirely different? Sometimes we're going about and we don't really know what we are upset about. We need to be able to identify the emotion. And we talked about this last week because when we identify the emotion, we have ownership. This is not about accusations. This is not about the other person. It's about I'm owning my emotions so I can better navigate through what I'm feeling and I can communicate it to the other party so we can come to homeostasis, so we can come to peace in this situation. Or we can either disagree to agree, but we are able to articulate that emotion because why we owned it. We owned it. We took ownership. So that's the first tip. Our next tip. Sometimes this is hard for people to do, to describe the sensation. Describe the physical sensations associated with the emotion. For example, if you're feeling anxious, you might mention a tightness in your chest, right? Or a racing heart. This is a way where you can explain it, describe what you're feeling. Sometimes we don't even get it, as the younger generation say, you know what, I'm just mad, mad. I'm just mad, mad. What is mad, mad? What is that sensation? What are you feeling in that moment? And describing that helps you again begin to own your emotions. That's tip two. We must practice empathy. When discussing emotions with others, try to empathize with their feelings and perspectives. Acknowledge their emotions and demonstrate understanding and support. Have you ever been in a conversation and you're trying to get your point across and the people like, whatever, I don't get it. Get over it. What? Get over it? That's not empathy, honey. We have to show empathy. And this is going to help you in that relationship, because what happens is when someone feels that you don't care, they completely cut you off. They're not listening anymore. What is the purpose of me standing here trying to explain this to you or trying to get to a resolve and you don't even care? Listen, people don't care what you do or what you say if you're not showing empathy. I'm telling you, this is fact. And let's move on to our next point. And I'm going through these points because I want to make sure we get through them all and you can go back and you can take notes, right? So we have to provide specific examples or situations that contribute to your feelings. Providing specific examples or situations that contribute to your feeling involves the following. And we're going to talk about that. It involves like, so say the situation is I'm upset with this coworker because they disregarded the project that I was assigned. I took all this time and nobody cares. I say capital NC, nobody cares. And I need to give you an example of why I feel the way I feel. And so, how do you do that? Sometimes when you're in a heat or when you're frustrated, you can't even find the language to put to how you feel. You mean to tell me I've been, ooh, oh my God, I can't. And those are the things we'll say instead of really describing the event in details. And this is what I want to tell you. We must describe the event in detail, clearly describe the specific events or circumstances that contribute to your feelings. Provide context, such as who was involved, where and when it occurred, and what actions or words were exchanged. This is important. You got to describe the event. People don't know what's going on unless you tell them. And the oohs and the ooh, you get on my ooh, that is not enough, honey. You got to get details, be detail oriented. Let them know, okay, this is what happened. I was assigned this project. I was project manager over this. And then what happened was I felt some kind of way. What is that? No, I was frustrated because I really put all into this project. And Jack told me that I needed to do this. So I spent hours developing this theme for this project. And then here comes someone with another idea and they just completely disregarded my hard work. So as you began to explain and give details to what the challenge is, that relationship right there begins to take a turn for the better, right? Because now the person is really in tune with what you're saying, and they're like, well, I guess you do have a point. Man, you spent that much time. I wasn't aware. I didn't even know that you were assigned to the project. And then you start finding out things, and now you're like, wait a minute, why am I mad at this person? This has nothing to do. This person had nothing to do with this. This person was just following instructions. And so it allows us to be able to navigate again through the situation that is causing tension in the relationship. You all with me? I hope you all picking up what I'm putting down. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, make sure you drop a comment in that comment section. All right. Okay. So we're describing the events, and now we're going to go to highlighting reactions and responses. So here you're going to explain how you reacted or responded to the events emotionally. Did you feel overwhelmed? Were you hurt? Were you excited? Were you confused? Describe any physical or psychological reactions you experience. This is important because if we don't put language to how we feel, it can it can cause a lot of issues. So we began to explain and we put language to it. Were you hurt? Were you confused? How were you feeling in that moment? It's really important that you do that because it helps give language. It helps paint a perspective on how this particular situation affected you. All right. Again, highlight reactions and responses so you can better even understand. It just helps you all the way around to better communicate. All right. Now, this is something that we kind of we challenged in this area. And I can speak for experience. Sometimes you have so much to say you don't have any concrete examples. We want to use concrete examples. Use concrete examples or antidotes to illustrate your feelings. Provide details that help others understand the situation from your perspective. What concrete examples do you have? Okay, I was given this assignment. It was assigned by Dan or whoever it was assigned by, and I was told to come up with a theme for this project. So I did that. And so what happened when someone else came in and did the same project that I was assigned to do, I was given detailed instructions on what to do. This is what happened. And so now you're giving concrete examples of why you are feeling the way you are feeling. All right. So that's another thing. Concrete examples. We want to use concrete examples. And we want to commute needs or resolutions. So if this is applicable, you want to communicate any needs, boundaries, or resolutions related to the event that happened. This can involve seeking an apology, seeking boundaries, or discussing ways to prevent similar situations in the future. Sometimes we speak and we complain, but we don't have a resolve. I need you to be solution focused life learners. Make sure that you have a resolve to this. So what is it that you're seeking? Do you want an apology? I mean, what is it? Is there some boundaries, or is there a better way that you can communicate in this situation? So this is what we want to do. We want to communicate needs and resolutions. And see, this will help keep healthy relationships. All right. So we kind of went really quick over a few tips, but I go deeper into some of these life coaching insights when you individually meet with me. We can talk more about it. I love talking about relationships and how to strengthen them. I love encouraging my life learners to live life on purpose because why? You're worth it. However, you have to be intentional about relationships. We have to be intentional about nurturing them. And we have to really take hold of our emotions and ownership of our emotions, because if we can't articulate the challenge, how are we going to come to a resolve? Let me know, because that will be quite challenging. Many times relationships are strained because we cannot add language to how we are feeling, and we don't know how to communicate what it is that we need to without becoming defensive or overwhelmed or just like, forget it, I'm angry. However, as we begin to develop and we nurture our relationships, we learn ways that are conducive for growth, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to growth up. We are not trying to subtract. We are multipliers, all right? And so when we want to multiply our relationships, we want to make sure that we're multiplying them in a healthy direction. We want to make sure that we're adding value, because as you add value, you are able to pour into other people, right? And you're developing yourself, because as life learners, we are to be a light to other people. And as we demonstrate how we are healthy within our own relationships, that seed can be planted in many others. I always tell people, you have to teach people how to love you. And that's a whole nother topic. But you have to teach people. And sometimes in teaching others, we are either the student or we are the teacher, or we may be both. So, in either instance, we want to make sure that we are growing and we are learning and we are teaching, and we are also understanding that we need to work on self so we can be better communicators, so we can expand our relationships to a different level. We should not have to walk around being angry with everybody. It's not always everybody else. It's not. Sometimes we got to say, hey, did I say that right? Did I even communicate what the challenge was? Did I even recognize the feeling that I was having? Because I'm assuming that you should know why I'm upset, but I really didn't identify my emotion. I didn't recognize or label it. I didn't even know, was I happy? Was I sad? Was I frustrated? I'm all over the place. And so, but I expect others to understand that. So this is why it's really, really important. If I can't stress anything more than this point, you have to identify your emotion. That is very important. take a minute to recognize and label it so you can be able to add language to it, and you can communicate in such a way where you can start describing what the feeling is. How does it make you feel? I'm angry, and that makes me feel as if I want to lay hands, or as if I want to withdraw. I don't want to even deal with you anymore, you know? So, and it's okay. You have to talk this stuff out, because if you don't, it will impair relationships. So I hope that you picked up what I put down, because this will help you thrive, evolve, and thrive in your relationships. And if you missed it, replay it, share it, and make sure you implement this. And my challenge to you today is make sure you identify that emotion, that you describe that sensation, practice empathy, provide specific examples, and describe your events in details. Highlight your reactions and your response. Use concrete examples. And make sure that you communicate needs and resolutions. All right? You all have a good one. I thank you for joining me on Evolve and Thrive Life Coaching Insights. If you want to learn more about me again, make sure you visit me at alexisnelson.us. I'm waiting for you, life learners. I want to do more with you. And I love that you tune in every Saturday. I am so grateful, because I want to make sure that you live life on purpose, because you're worth it. And again, don't forget to like and share, because again, we want everyone to live life on purpose. I'm your coach, Alexis. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next Saturday.